I just want to know, should I always look at that one,
Yeah,
or should I sometimes look at hers?
Always this one.
Always
and
that
she's
one.
always
Got it.
that one.
Okay. So you're gonna
But
cut
I can
back and
like
forth.
look
Got
at
it.
her, right?
Yeah.
That was gonna be my next question.
I was like-
We're conversing here, and then okay.
You don't have to like look in the camera the entire
Just
time.
when we're talking to the audience, and then
talking to the audience,
Okay.
this is something that you would look into.
Gotcha.
She would look into this, and you would look into that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Like
Okay, good to know.
I know. Hey, Netflix. Hashtag.
Better than Netflix.
Hey, you! You're tuned in to the Skirts Up Show with Samantha and Melissa.
Join our mission to normalize failure, but still uncover the positives at every twist and turn.
Skirts up, but keep your panties on. What's up, Skirts Up Squad? It is Samantha. And Melissa's not here with us today. Unfortunately, on our way home from our recording in DC, she got into a car accident. She is okay. Unfortunately, her car, not so much. So she's stuck in Virginia. She really wanted to be here today with you guys, but you just get me. And hopefully I can make her proud, and we'll see how this goes. But yeah, so I'm back in Atlanta and literally just got back from DC. So went from one recording in another state back home to do a recording here. And our trip to DC was interesting. I was not expecting to land and there be snow on the ground. But I will tell you, before we left Atlanta, I had no voice. Like, I have been struggling with allergies, and I usually don't have a problem with allergies. And just, it took my voice. I sound gross, like all the germs. But then we get in DC, and in 24 hours, like it all went away. And I sounded normal and felt normal, and it was wild. And then, of course, like within 30 minutes of being back in Atlanta, I sound all snuffly and stuffed up again. So, yeah, welcome to Atlanta, where the allergies play. We have a very special guest with us today. I have been looking forward to this recording since she reached out to us, which makes it even more special that we're being noticed. And a lot of that is because of y'all. So thank you so much. This recording, we also, for the first time, have our friend Case running the cameras for us. Thank you, Case. He made this look a beautiful, seamless, easy, and made me feel a little less alone. So thank you for doing that. Do you guys want me to tell you a fail? Yeah. Yeah, I guess I should, right? That's like what we always do. So I drink a lot of water. Like, I go through like a gallon a day, and my husband always laughs at me. And so I was like, I need a water bottle that I don't have to fill up as much, because then I can drink my water easier and it will make me drink more water. And so I got this half-gallon water jug, this half-gallon water bottle, and thought this was a great idea. I had it for about a day before we went to DC, and I brought it with me, of course. I mean, I don't go anywhere without water. And we're running through Atlanta Airport trying to get to our gate to go to DC. And I have like 2 backpacks on and my water bottle across my chest. And I think my purse, like hanging off my shoulder. My purse was falling off. We're running. And I went to go put the purse and slide it back up on my shoulder. And when I swung my arm up, my water bottle swung up and smacked me in the forehead. So I literally have a bruise on my forehead. And what makes it even better is that there were security guards that saw this whole thing happen. And mind you, it's like 4:00 in the morning. And I'm like, I'm surprised I didn't like be like, you're drunk, you can't fly. But yeah, there was no alcohol. That was just me being dumb. And then, of course, the next time, like once we get through the gate and I fill it up with water, I went to go take a drink. And I don't know what I did. This water jug is just massive and apparently like a huge hazard. but I went to go take a sip and somehow like jammed that thing right into my lip. And I also have a busted lip. So yeah, the water bottle of death. But at least it's pretty. It's covered in sunflowers and it's got like a little case so I can wear it around my neck, half gallon of water. But it's good for you, right? Let's get to what we're here for today. I'm just going to go ahead and cut to the recording that we did. I hope you enjoy it. She's a beautiful soul, and you're going to love her. So here she is. Today we have with us Miss Vitelle. She's an Atlanta native, activist, model, author, but most recently she is the director, writer, producer, and actress of her own show that is on tour right now called 9 Lives. And I looked down the whole time, but it's fine. You got it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of
So excited to
course.
be here.
Sorry, my other half isn't here. She's a little better too.
Yes, definitely keeping her in my prayers. I'm so sorry that happened to her. And I'm hoping to meet her one day soon.
I'm hoping I can drag her and we can go to one of your shows.
Definitely.
So speaking of your show being on tour, 9 Lives, you have one in Atlanta coming up.
Yes, absolutely. So the next one in Atlanta is on March 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have 6 cities to go. I'm kind of losing count at this point. It's a 9-city tour, so it's a little overwhelming.
How appropriate. 9 Lives.
I know, right?
Was that
See
on
how that
purpose?
happened? Nothing I did was on purpose by me, but I don't believe in coincidences. And this
Aw.
is very much a God-ordained show. And so when he does stuff like that, I'll be like, oh, I see what you did there.
Your show is based off of a book that you wrote.
Yes.
When did you write that?
So this is I Am a Poetic Ensemble, and I wrote it during the pandemic, I would say.
Oh.
I was writing it for a long time. So the question isn't when I wrote it. The question is, when did I push the button and actually publish it?
That's
Now,
fair.
that was during the pandemic. I can tell you that part. So, so that happened during the pandemic. And, literally when I published it, the world shut down. So I apologize for that, people. But this is definitely a movement. And it's a memoir story of my life, written in poetry format. It's a self-help book because I'm talking about my traumatic experiences, the things that I've gone through. And people who can relate and resonate with that, they can go to the back of the book and see the self-help section that has notes and references for anybody dealing with any of the topics in this book can find the help that they need there.
I love that so much. We have all sorts of professionals on, and we always love when they're like, well, you don't have to have money to get help. Like,
Right.
here's the resources.
So that's what the book is all about. And so the show 9 Lives came from that. It kind of became a one-woman show because of the pandemic a little bit. Because,
Oh.
obviously during the pandemic, I wasn't able to hire a cast and a crew and makeup team and wardrobe and all of the things that we normally have. And I just had to be all of those people. So I'm
did
actually
it
playing a little
yourself?
bit more than 9 lives.
Oh my
9 lives is
gosh.
what you see on the cover of the flyer and what you see in the show. Those are the characters. But behind the scenes, if you think about it, I was my own camera person. I'm setting up all the tripods and filming myself and doing all, and my own makeup crew and wardrobe, just everything that had to be done. I was doing that because, we were quarantined. Well, I'll give credit to my kids too, because myself and my kids were doing that. They were not wanting to do that really, but it all came together. We made it work.
That is so beautiful. So no matter what, if you want something, you can do it and make it happen
Absolutely.
yourself.
Yeah, and I'm the type of person, honestly, that if I get pushback, so like, when I kind of tell the enemy, I kind of threaten them a little bit. I'm like, you're going to have to try harder than that to stop me from writing this book. And then literally the whole world shut down. And I was like, dang, he's trying really hard. So that's kind of how that happened.
But that's like the best.
But that
time.
made me like more, when I get that adversity makes you just go harder. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm at war. Now I got to fight back. So, a lot of us, adversity makes us just better. In a lot of ways.
It does. Yeah. And if you don't have that, you're not growing. So
Yeah.
So at what age does the book start taking place?
That's
In
a
the
good
play.
question. I want to say it's a memoir of my life, but I started collecting, I would say journal entries. So I've been journaling since I was a teenager. But here's the thing. I can't really remember much before I was a before that time period. So probably my oldest memories that I can really piece together are like middle school going into high school.
Okay.
So most people, they can remember elementary school, they can remember their teachers' names, all of these things, but that's actually
Trauma brain.
a trauma. Exactly. Trauma brain. I haven't heard it called that before.
I got trauma brain.
It is a symptom of trauma, and I'm going to start calling it trauma brain now because that's exactly what it is. Thank you. Yes, that was great. So yeah, it actually, your brain works to protect itself and makes you forget a lot of the stuff. So that's really where, even with writing the book, I had to go through therapy. I almost went through hypnosis, but I was like, yeah, this is a little uncomfortable, So I just went through like relaxing and trying to remember stuff therapy. And so I was able to piece together a lot of memories between that and talking to other family relatives and stuff. And then my journal entries. So I kept journal entries and things like that. Unfortunately, we didn't have smartphones then. Yeah. So if I had had a smartphone, I'm sure I would have had a whole YouTube channel about the nonsense I was going through. But, I probably wouldn't have been going through it because I'd have been YouTube famous at that point. But, I was writing in journals with a pen and paper. This is what we used to do back in the days, folks. To those of you who don't know what a pen and paper is.
I still do.
So that's where the book really came from. And so the journal entries, I want to say, started around high school, but I reflect back on times that I don't really remember and things that I was able to piece together rather. And so, yeah, it started back further than that. Yeah. Hopefully that answered the question.
No, that does.
It's hard to pinpoint a date. Is what I'm saying.
No, it does. What I'm hearing is that it sounds like a lot of the complex trauma probably started 8 years old, somewhere in between that frame, because I know that the brain at 8 years old is when you've absorbed all of the
stuff. Yeah, I found that out as I was going through my healing process and going through the process of writing the story. I didn't know that the first few years are what really makes who you are, scientifically proven, I guess.
Yeah.
And so when I found that out, I'm like, that makes so much sense why I'm like an old soul, first of all. I relate more to my grandmother than anyone. And I found out in doing my research that my grandmother actually had me the first 5 years. And I'm like, it's all making sense now. I thought I was just adopted or an alien or something because I'm nothing like any of this family. That's how
my goodness.
I felt that my family I was not relating to anyone. And so, yeah, it makes sense that explains why, my 83-year-old grandmother is my best friend, and that's who I relate to the most.
One of the things that I can rant on forever is what they don't teach you in school. And one of them is mental health. Like, I feel like, why don't we learn about mental health? Like, we shouldn't be 30 years old learning about what your attachment style is and how you get that.
Right.
It's literally one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, just got goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you actually gave me goosebumps when you said, and that's why I had to say yet. I had to say it out loud as you were saying it, because that's why it's so important for people like myself and people who are telling their stories and finally speaking out. Like, you're seeing more celebrities coming out about mental health and making it a norm. And so, yeah, it will be taught in schools eventually. I believe that. Like, it takes for all of us to work together and make a difference and show how important it is.
Yeah. It won't be immediate, but just think like
work in progress.
You got to start one generation, and I'm sure it'll be a lot of butting heads.
Exactly.
And, oh, you made me this way.
Right, right. Exactly.
No, I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. You could be the perfect parent, and you're still traumatizing your kids.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I don't want to think of it like that, but I don't want to traumatize my kid. No, I'm just kidding. No, I know what you mean. Like, there's always going to be something that you're like, dang, I wish my parent would have did this better or whatever.
You're going to be overprotective or not protective. Like, there's not a healthy in between. They're going to perceive it differently. I think the most healthy you can be is communicating with them, because I tell my kids all the time, like, these are the things that I've been through. I'm honest with them about the things that I've been through at an age-appropriate level when it's appropriate to share certain parts of it with them. But, once they know my truth, then I explain to them, and this is why I parent the way that I do. This is the reason, I overcompensate a lot of times because I feel like I missed a lot of childhood. So I'll overcompensate for my kids. And then, I am very strict and all these different things. Like, I'm this way because of how I was raised. So I'm trying to do better
than my parents did.
Mhm.
And so in turn, as I'm teaching you guys, I'm always reminding them I'm not going to do it perfect. I think that's the worst thing parents can do is think that, they tell their kids, well, this is what you got to do because I said so or whatever. And then when the kids come to you for an answer, you have to have that answer. No, you don't. Sometimes the answer is, I don't know because I just don't know. I'm learning too. And so the kids understand that you're not a perfect being. They don't expect you to be perfect. They don't, set these high expectations for you. And you've told them from the very beginning that I might get things wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have to let me know if something that I said offends you or hurt you. Like that's why communication is so
Yes.
important at all ages of
Mhm.
all of our lives. And I think I did a pretty good job with that. I guess we'll see when my kids are grown if they say, my mama used to do,
There's going to be something.
Yeah, so I do the best I can, but I think that's the best you can do is just be honest about it and, let them know I'm trying to do this because of this and hopefully I get it right. But if you have a problem with something, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the answer is, well, at this stage in life, I have to make the best decision for you. So that's it. You don't know how to think right now.
Right. It's always.
It depends on what, what age and, I had to tell my son that the other day, so you can tell it's kind of hitting close to home right now. It's like, you know what? At this point, I'm making the decision. He's 17 going on 20-something.
I have to tell you, the 12-year-old, the boy at 12-year-old, I was, who are you?
Everything. You see my eye twitching right here? Like, teenagers, man.
Oh, man. What's
That's a
easier,
stage.
girls or boys?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think that it's boys.
Really?
Me personally. I ask a lot of other parents that have both. But for me, I had two boys that were practically twins, 16 months apart. And they were so much easier than when the girl came along and she's like 12 kids. So, and I have all of my nieces and nephews. I have all of them together a lot. And when I have all 8 of them, there's still this one that is my girl that I birthed that is like, how are you louder than all 8 of you guys?
There's always the one.
So, yeah, I think maybe it's a personality thing, but I think it might be that they're a little more chill.
Yeah.
Girls are demanding and they need a lot of things, and then they need things to match all the things that they have. So, yeah, it's a lot.
I'm not there yet. I think that
How old's your girls?
the girls, I have a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Okay.
They're best friends.
Okay.
And they are very feisty and funny.
So your
and
9-year-old she doesn't think she's 18 yet?
I mean, she gives me attitude
Okay.
and like acts
She's getting
like she's got the whole world.
Yeah.
But
See, that's what I'm not used to. And then the girly stuff where like she sees an ant and she's crying and I'm like, it's an ant. You're bigger than it,
Yeah,
and then,
there's that.
Yeah, I had to adjust because I feel like I'm a boy mom, and then it's like, okay, now I got to adjust to this girl stuff. So it's like if she gets hurt, I'm kind of used to, girl, get up, like,
Yeah.
you're all right, good, get on up. And I have to be like, oh, she's a girl. Let me just baby her a little more. And I have to intentionally be like, okay, come here.
Okay, I'm so glad I'm not the only
You're
one.
okay. Like, it's like I have to work really hard at it.
I was a tomboy growing up. And
That was me, yeah.
but the problem is that my boy is not a tomboy. Like,
Really?
yes. And so, like, I remember this one time I was like, yes, okay, so this is going to be cool. We're going to go to the park. We're going to play football. And I remember I was at the park and it was really, really busy. And there's dads everywhere playing ball with their kids. And I was like, all right, I'm going to teach you how to throw a football. And I go to throw him the football and, like, nail him in the face. And he's crying. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Get up. We're going to do this again. Round 2. Black eye. And I was like, and we're going.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, okay,
No.
not for you. That is okay.
Right. Yeah. So that's me too. I was definitely a tomboy. So I needed the boys first. And
Yeah.
I feel like I got exactly what I asked for in the right order that I wanted. So I was like, Lord, the only part that didn't line up is I definitely prayed that I did not have a girl until I was rich enough to have a girl, because I felt like she needed everything. Like I literally planned on by this time in her life having a whole room in the house that is a Barbie house, like that you walk into it and you're inside of Barbie's house. Yes. And so
is that a thing?
I still want to do that. So if she's, 18 by the time we do that, then we're going to be an 18-year-old and I'm not going to tell my age-year-old playing with Barbies in the big Barbie dream house because I've dreamed of this since I was little. So now that I can afford it, we're doing it. All right. So if you don't like it, you better have some kids at some point then, because then I'll
There's
have
always
grandkids to play. Yeah, exactly. Like somebody's playing in this Barbie dream house with me.
Oh my gosh, that is a girl's dream come true.
Yes, absolutely.
So where did 9 Lives come from?
9 Lives came from, gosh, that is that is
Loaded
a loaded question. We are right here right now. Our brains are in line. We're
Is that
in
like
the
a
vein.
trauma sink? Is that what that is?
No, I think, you know what? I think, like I said, everything with this show and surrounding this show is so divine. I believe in divine connections. Everything happens for a reason. And so even my assistant who sets up all these interviews and stuff, I trust her that she is in the vein. She's on it. So wherever she tells me to go, whoever she's telling me to meet, I don't need any more details than that. I trust that she lined me up with you for a reason. She saw something you were doing and she said, hey, this makes sense. And so, yeah, we're divinely connected. So that's what that is. But yeah, no, that's where 9 Lives really comes from. If you put it just vaguely like that, then I could say that it's divine. Like it really comes from God, because I watched this show and I've seen it. I'm sure we've done it more than 50 times. I lost count after this point.
Yeah.
But every time I watch it, I'm like, it's a whole different show to me. And I'm amazed with it every time, even though, yeah, technically I sit there and wrote it and, the thoughts came through my brain and through my fingers on the computer and I lived it. Yeah, it's like I'm telling what I actually lived, but it's like I can't make this stuff up, and just for it to have been pieced together to where there's 9 different characters telling my one story. People think it's about split personality disorder. It's not that. It's not that. It's just really, some people, they're like, 9 lives. Oh, so she's got split personality. No, it's not that. It's just sometimes I feel like I have lived multiple lives because I've been through so many things in one lifetime. So really it was just a matter of me not being able to play all of the characters, or not be able to hire all the characters. So I had to play all of the characters.
Well, that brings up my question. Is it all of the characters are you, the same person, or is this like playing different characters, like a Tyler Perry playing all the things?
So I am playing completely different characters. So they all look different.
Why they look different.
Yeah, they all look different. They have completely different personalities. And that's why I said when I watch it, I forget I'm watching me. Like that's how divine this show is. It's like, dang, I forgot for a second this is actually me and my story that it's telling. That's how disconnected I am from it. But yeah, it's like it's all these different characters telling my one story. So they are all their own entities. And now we've gone even further to make we have life-size posters now of each character. And so now it feels even different because they're separate entities from me. So when I go into the shows and I'm seeing all these people standing here and people can go take pictures with them and not just me, like, people taking pictures with their favorite characters and things. Like it was a whole vision that came to me. And it literally happened in 3 days. It was like that part in itself was just a whole miracle. I got to tell you a little bit of that testimony because, we're on this world tour. So we had Orlando was our first stop. Then we go to the Birmingham show. We're getting ready for the second show in Birmingham. And when I walked into the building, I literally saw like the vision of all these different characters standing up to where people could take pictures with them and stuff. And I didn't even hesitate, like, is that even possible? What does it really take to get to that point? Like, how can I make this a reality? I just literally started going in, like, this is what it's going to be. And I started telling the team, this is what we're going to have by the Birmingham show. Now, mind you, we're a week away from the Birmingham show. So I don't know what I was thinking, but that's what happened. It was like, I literally just spoke it out and I said, this is what we're going to do. Let's make this happen. And didn't have any regard to how that's going to happen or how impossible and crazy that sounds. So I reached out to a few designers and I designed myself, but it would have taken me months to do the work that I was asking them to do.
Right.
Because first of all, if you can see on the flyer, the pictures are from here up for the most part. They're like from here up. So there's no bodies.
Yeah.
And I saw full-size standing banners. So how am I seeing something that doesn't exist, right?
Right.
But I'm like, hey, we live in a world of AI. We're going to figure out how to make this happen, right? So I reached out to a few different designers like, hey, can you make this happen for me like 3 days ago? That's basically what I'm asking. And everybody's like, nope, that's impossible. And I'm like, okay, that's what you think. Moving on to the next. And I just kept going, expecting somebody's going to say it is possible. And I don't know, like still looking back on it now, I'm like, what made me think that was possible, But I kept pushing and somebody did it. Like they literally, when I told them, hey, I want these people, but I want them standing full size. So whatever you got to do to make their bodies, do that. And I kind of just told them what they were wearing in the movie and they made their full bodies and they matched what the movie has and everything. And he sent it back like 5 minutes later. He's like, is this what you mean? And I'm like I could see the vision. It's like creative people know this. I know I'm speaking to all the creatives out there. Like when you have a vision in your mind and you're the only person that can see it and you're trying to tell everybody else what this looks like in here, like it's so frustrating because you can't even explain it really. It's like I'm trying to put it into words so that you guys can help me put it together and make it happen, but it's impossible to.
I always sound like a crazy person.
Yeah, like I know this is sounding crazy coming out of my mouth, but I'm telling you, when we get there, I'll tell you that's what I saw, and I'm just knowing we're going to get there. And so when he sent that to me, I'm like, that's how you know you're in the vein with somebody because he knew without so many words what I needed and what I meant. I didn't have to over explain or describe so much. Like he got it. Yeah. And so it's like, that's why it's so important to recognize the people that are for you. They're right here with you. You don't have to, if you have to over explain too much, they might not be for you. Keep it moving, because there's 8 billion people on the planet and somebody's going to get it.
And that's the real talent.
Man, he got it. He sent it. And I was like, that's exactly what I meant. And so by the next day, he had all of them designed from head to toe. And then it was like, okay, we have them now. This is actually happening. We have a few days to the show. How are we going to get somebody to not only print these things out for us before this Saturday?
Oh, that wasn't even included.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
He didn't print. He just designed. I'm like, it's Wednesday when I had the vision. By Thursday, we had the people. The show is on Saturday. You see how impossible I'm thinking right now? Like, this is impossible.
Yeah.
But I was like, but we're coming this far, so it must be something. God's going to work it out.
God.
And so we started, the team, we just split up. We got a compilation of all of the phone numbers for all of the print shops in the whole region of Birmingham. And we just split up the numbers. You call these people, and we're just all calling. And finally somebody bit. And mind you, I didn't just want them to print them. I wanted them to print them as a sponsor for free.
Yep. I know that struggle.
I'm like, whoa, I'm thinking some impossible stuff here. But yeah, the one that responded back to me, now they did say they can't completely free sponsor it. But when I tell you the people who gave me quotes, it was like 2,500, 2,000 something, whatever. They were high up there. And I'm like, God, you're going to have to do something. So even though they didn't sponsor the full amount, they got the price all the way down to like $500. And I was like, we can do that. We're going to raise this money. I start going online. I'm like, hey, y'all, this is what we're trying to do. We're going to do this by the show on Saturday. Like, even if it's Saturday morning, whatever has to happen, we got to raise this $500. Let's go. And people started donating and we made that $500. These people were working on stuff for the Super Bowl. Like, this is when this was happening.
Whoa.
They dropped everything to do our flyers and had our banners and had them printed by that Friday. I walked in the door on Friday, the day before the show, and I'm like, I want to say I was in tears, but I literally could not cry because I was in shock. Like, but you could see that I was like, whoa, like this, to go from thinking it on Wednesday, designing it Thursday, having it printed by Friday. That does not
unheard
happen.
of.
That is so unheard of. And then the show's on Saturday. I'm like, we literally have these people standing here now. And it means so much. It goes so much deeper than just the posters. Like, they are so separate from me now. Like that's a deeper healing thing, just to be standing there looking at all of them and thinking about what each person represents.
Yes.
Because one of them represents when I was homeless living in the car. One of them represents when I was kidnapped and trafficked. One of them represents the childhood trauma that I can barely remember. They all represent a different part of my life.
Yeah.
But then they're all their own entity now. and they all have their own testimony to speak to people that are going to see themselves in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, it just hit so much, so different.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
You've accomplished a lot.
Yes. Nothing but God. You see how I can't even take credit for it when I can't even
I'm
take
like
credit for
speechless.
this.
I'm like, I have no idea.
For real.
It is the impossible, and you and your team made it happen. How were you able to get a following that was so willing to step in and help you make your vision come true?
Oh, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. Yeah, I know, right? As many interviews as I've done, I've never been asked that. So I would say, like, just being transparent.
Mhm.
You know, like, I can't be anything but me. I don't know how to be anybody else at this point besides when I'm acting, you know. But I am very transparent with people. There's people who's been following me for years.
Mhm.
I've been just going hard, being as consistent as I can be with the social media. It's hard sometimes to juggle the social media world and then you're out here in real life doing the thing. But, you know, it's like just going live behind the scenes, just having the camera rolling all the time. It's like I got to the point where I didn't care, like, if they caught me eating or if, you know, there's something hanging out my eye or something. Like, you just human.
It is what
you
it
know,
is.
it is what it is. And I used to hate that saying
Mm.
because it never is what it is when they say it is what it is. Like, it literally is never what it is. Like, why are you even saying that at this moment?
Yeah.
But this is the only time in life that I can apply that and say it is what it is, because that's it. Like, we're all humans, and I had to just embrace, like, being out there and not caring what anyone
Mhm.
thought, because just like I was saying earlier, your people are going to recognize you. And so if it's not for them, keep it moving. Like, you know, you can block me, you can unfollow, you can do
Yes.
whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to make you sick of me because I'm very persistent, and I'm going to be on all your TV. So unless you live in the middle of the woods, like, with no TV, no nothing, you're going to be seeing me. So just
I'm
get used
soaking
to
in
it.
this energy. I'm always like, oh, why are these people talking to me? Like, I'm no one. And then they're like, no, you are.
Listen, like, you just don't know who you're resonating with.
Mm-mm.
And so once
Yeah.
I realized, like, the most important thing is just to show up. You don't have to
Mhm.
show up perfect. You don't have to show up feeling like you're ready. Like, I had to get past all of those things that were holding me back from
Yeah.
just showing up. And once I just started showing up, then the people who needed me right in that space where I was,
Mhm.
they were there. And so it resonated with them. It touched their soul, people that I've never even met in a lot of cases. And then sometimes I'll meet them at an event and they'll tell me, I've been following you for years, you
Oh,
know,
that's gonna
even
be
to come to
amazing.
Orlando. Like, why am I doing a show in Orlando? I have no following there. I have no idea anybody there. And then the first lady comes up to me, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for 3 years for you to bring the show to Orlando. I had no idea. And that
Wow.
just, like, it's just reminders like that let you know, like, people are watching. Like, no matter how few or many followers you have, like, it's just
Mhm.
important to show up, and that has continued to grow. And then, you know, as people continue to believe in you, you know, there's always going to be people that are just hanging around because they know she's going somewhere. I'm going to ride her coattails, you know, whatever.
Or just waiting
Like,
to
there's
see you
always those,
drop.
or wait to see you fail. Exactly, that part. So there's always going to be those, but that's another thing that I just had to embrace, because, you know, there was a time when I wasn't speaking out as much because of the haters. So we call them the
Yeah.
haters, just to sum it all up, right? So, you know, it's like, as soon as I say something that's my own opinion, that, like, everybody else has one too, then I got people jumping on, well, this and this and that, you know, in
It's
your
still
comment
attention.
section. And I had to get to that point where I felt like, you know, all publicity is publicity. And even if they're posting a bad comment, if you look at some of the most viral videos, they have some of the worst comments and most hateful people that have no life on there.
And there's
But
millions.
they're what made it viral in the
Right.
first place. So it's like,
Bring
you know
it.
what? Bring the hate. Bring it on. Just whatever. Because, you know, people are going to judge and misunderstand you. And the more people that know you, the more you're going to have people that hate you. That means I'm making it, I guess, because,
Yeah.
you know, so I had to embrace that. And
I really
now it's just out
appreciate how
there.
real you are on social media, because I think we can all agree that we're seeing enough of the
Fake.
Instagram perfect, and that's
Right.
not real life. Your house
Right.
doesn't look like that.
Exactly. Let me straighten up so everything looks right.
Your hair and your makeup is not always perfect every day. Like, stop it.
Exactly.
It's not real standards, and that's what makes
Right.
us feel like we're failing in family
Mhm.
life,
That's what I was
personal,
gonna say.
professional. Like,
Because we aspire to be like something that's unrealistic. Like, that
Mhm.
doesn't actually exist. It's a filter. It's a, you know, a doctor's job or something, like there's all these things that we're aspiring to be that it doesn't really exist like that. So I just think all celebrities, especially because those are the ones that we look at and aspire to be.
Yes.
It's like, just embrace the realness. Like, I love celebrities that come on. Shout out to Cardi B. That's my girl. But, come on, with just no makeup on, just don't even care. Like, I love that because people need to see more of that and see
Alicia
that
Keys
you're a real
is
person.
who I've always looked up to.
Right. I love her.
Like, I love how she can just on any stage, no makeup and just doing her thing. And
right.
I'm like,
right. And just
wanna be
not
that.
worried about what everybody's thinking, because if it's not for them, it's not for them. Keep it moving. But yeah, I love that because everyone sees the highlights and then everybody feels like they have to post the highlights all the time. So when their life isn't one big highlight, then they're thinking they're failing at everything.
Yes.
It's the end of the world instead of realizing, oh, well, Beyonce just went through that last week. I saw an interview with Beyonce talking about how she gets nervous before she goes out on stage. And I was like, what? Beyonce? Who?
Say that more.
Yeah, and it just made me feel some type of way, like, oh, I'm doing good then. Like,
Right.
because if Beyonce gets nervous, then I shouldn't feel bad if I get some butterflies sometimes, right?
Oh, I mean, you guys just
That
let me get the
just-
wiggles out.
Right. It's like, it really puts it into perspective because it's Beyonce. So, yeah,
Right.
it's crazy how we do celebrities, but what do we say? It is what it is.
Is that our
applies
saying for
to
the rest
that
of the
too.
show?
Yes, it applies to that part too, because it is.
I love it. So we have 9 characters.
Mhm.
Do you have a favorite?
Now, that one I have been asked, but I can never answer it because it's hard to decide. Like, I was really thinking about that when I had all the posters in front of me and someone was asking who's my favorite. I'm like, well, based on what she's wearing, I like this one's outfit better. But, if I go based off of the character of the person, it's probably going to be Peggy because she's the one that talks about domestic violence.
Yeah.
And she's just so sweet and she's a country bumpkin. So she's got this really extreme country accent, even more than what I already have. And so I really like her as a character. And then it's hard to decide when it comes down to which one of their stories because they all portray them so well. And you see how I talk about like they're completely different. Like I'm not playing
We
them.
do that
'cause
about
it's-
Lottie.
Yeah, like it's wait, who's Lottie?
Lottie's our logo. We named her
Oh.
and she is Lottie. And so Lottie will tell us things and Lottie is her own human.
Oh, that see, you understand.
I
then.
do, I literally
Yes, so
understand.
these characters are their own non-existent humans that are humans now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's really hard to choose a favorite, but I think I like Peggy too because she makes you laugh. Like it's hard to make people laugh in a show that's about healing from trauma,
Yes.
but it does happen. And now I like to sit back and watch the audience and see them hesitate to laugh because they don't know if they're supposed to or not. there's
If you're
moments
not
where,
laughing.
there's moments where I'm watching them like, let me see if they're gonna laugh, and they're like, I think I'm supposed to laugh at this, but I don't know because the topic, the
Yeah.
subject matter, it's hard to decide. So that's an interesting process to see the audience go through. But yeah, I like Peggy brings them some laughs. There's a couple of them that bring some laughs in. So.
Yeah.
I love to hear it. It's so quiet. Everyone's resonating with the characters, and all of a sudden they start cracking up. I'm like, yes. Like I'm backstage. Like, yes, I love that they laughed at that part. So
This is a really unique production.
Mhm.
You were telling me that I've never seen anything like it.
Mhm.
You just kind of had this idea and created it.
Mhm.
So your shows are not only a play, but they're also a movie at the same time.
yes.
Have you
so
named that? Like, are you calling it something?
I want to sum it up into like a one word that doesn't actually exist, but that one word has not come to me yet. So for now, this is the working title. We are just calling it an Us Three experience.
An experience works. I'm like sitting here, my brain's like, oh, Samantha, you're going to come up with the word. What is
I
it?
really want a word like that doesn't exist. So we'll work on that. Maybe some of the fans can like send us some ideas or
yes.
something. We'll have some votes or something, like get
Yes.
them involved.
I need to know what is a movie / play.
Because it's not even just that. It's a
And it's a
movie and a
memoir.
play. It's a memoir also. Like everything. That's another thing people don't realize with Us Three Productions. Everything I'm writing is coming from my own life. I'm only writing my real life stories.
Yeah.
So I have enough of them to last me a lifetime of producing movies and books and everything else. So this is just the sampler. Like
Yeah.
every single poem in this book is going to be its own movie. in itself
Wow.
because I have to expand on that now. So it's really a movement that you have to follow in order to know what's even going on or understand the next part of it. You have to start here. So this is it's an experience, it's a movement, and not only is it a play and a movie, but it's also got concert. There's a little bit of concert in it.
Are you playing
There's
the
some
instruments?
dance going on. No, I don't do instruments. That's the only thing I don't do, but I don't have the patience for it. Sorry, I tried. I got to Mary Had a Little Lamb on the guitar and the recorder from school.
Yes.
Yeah,
I got hot cross buns. That's about.
There you go. Oh yeah, I did get hard cross
done.
buns. I have that to my list too. Yeah, so I got those too. That's it. I accomplished something. There we go. I can't. I just don't have the patience to sit there. Like, you have to sit still to play music. So I admire people who can do that. But yeah, so that's the show is just, it has every genre of everything in it. And I personally am the type of person, I don't really like plays. And I hear that from men a lot. A lot of men say, I don't like plays. I'm not a play person. And those are the people that are my target audience personally. People who should not like my show, but they leave up out of that show, or I see them crying in the audience like, he's going for that tissue. I gotcha, or, and they leave out, they have this interview and they're just like mind blown. Like, you can just see it on their face. They don't even know what to say. They're just like, I was not expecting, this is not what I expected. But how can you don't know what to expect because it's always going to be something new. And every single show is a different experience. There's another thing. We don't rehearse at all. Yeah. we do not rehearse at all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we
So
just
are there bloopers
we
like in the
pray.
middle of it?
No, there's not. If there's a blooper, you would never know it. But yeah, and I honestly don't know how I get up on that stage every time because it's always so frantic.
Were you in theater
leading
in school?
Up to it, but I was. But I don't think that has anything to do with it, honestly. No, it's not that. Because I never, I don't even get a chance to, run through the lines unless I'm driving. Like, sometimes on the way there, I'll be driving, trying to run through. But I don't even get a chance because then the phone's ringing. I'm answering the phone and all this stuff. So I'm like, by the time it's showtime, I'm like, oh, my gosh, the audience is walking in the door right now. And I haven't even looked over I'm like, okay, let me just go refresh my memory real quick. And I can't believe that I get up there and not forget everything.
That is amazing.
I don't know how I do that. And then there's some parts of it are improv, and I have to just really trust the other actors that I've brought on because this has expanded to more than a one-woman show now. So I have guest actors that come on, and so yeah, it's I have to trust them because we have some choreography and some, I'll say, fight scenes. Yeah, it's a lot. So I have to trust to get beat around with no rehearsal. Smacked all around the stage. Yeah.
That brings me to another big question. I'm going to clear my throat though.
Okay. So
I've learned that I'm allergic to Atlanta.
Yes.
I went to DC.
Most people are
and
magic.
I still don't want to live in DC.
Right. That part. I don't even want to go to do a show there, honestly. But not that, all my DC people watching, get those tickets. I will be there. Y'all just need to give me some incentive because I'm not really enthusiastic about that.
The people
trip,
are
honestly.
great. The people are great. The driving, the traffic is worse than Atlanta, and I'm not going to do that again.
We're going to be 20 minutes from the White House too, so I can only imagine the traffic in that area.
It's great. Get a driver.
Yeah, we're going to be Ubering it.
So, like you mentioned, this is a memoir of your life. And this is a very vulnerable, very personable story. And I think that there's not very many people that could just honestly share what you've been through. How did you get to the point to where you felt safe enough to share it? And how does that affect you each time you watch it?
Oh, good questions. You are so good at this.
Oh my God, thank you.
You need a raise. You need a promotion.
Can I start making money now?
I know, right? That's why I said promotion. Look, it's coming. Gosh, let me stop before I forget the question. Lord, me and this ADHD over here. How did I get to? Okay. First of all, lots of therapy. That's the main thing. Seek professional help sometimes, especially when it's a lot. You got to be honest about this is a lot for one person to process. I need professional help. So
but also remember what's a lot for this is a lot.
Yeah.
But that does not minimize if you went through domestic violence, that is still tremendous trauma. I mean,
I explain trauma like this. If you stubbed your toe on a Lego one time, if that's the only thing you've ever been through in your life that was traumatizing, like you literally started moving different at that point, or you made sure the kids picked them Legos up.
Yes.
You made changes to make sure that that didn't happen again because it hurt you. It affected you.
That's
so
a perfect example.
I mean, literally anything can be considered as trauma. There's no levels to this. There's no big or small. So the thing is just, learning how to process it, whatever it is, and whatever changes you may need to make to prevent it in the future. In some cases, removing yourself from certain situations, getting out of, away from certain people, whatever you have to do. So I had to go through that process, and that took years. And so to get to the point where I was brave enough to share it, that never actually happened. I just had to kind of force myself to push the button. That's why I said earlier, when I said I'd been writing the book for a long time, it was a different story when it came to, I'm actually about to release this. And as soon as I hit this button, there's no turning back. So it was just kind of one of those things like, okay, just push it, and just walk away. And like, I really just did that. I just did that. And now it's, it's out there now. So
I am holding my breath. I just.
So yeah, it was never, that's why I said earlier, like you can't allow yourself to feel like I have to get to this certain point before I do this. Otherwise you'll never do it.
Right.
You have to do it scared, and then you just keep doing it. And I'm doing this tour right here. Like, even though I've done this show more than 50 times now, been requested in lots of different states, even other countries at this point, is terrifying. So when you see me doing this, I may be making it look easy, but I'm doing it scared because I literally, it's such a faith walk. I literally have no idea where first of all, when I first got the idea for the world tour, I got the cities and the dates and nothing else. And so I had to move forward knowing this is something that God is calling me to do. I truly believe that. And I had to start taking steps. So I like to describe it. I'm a visual person, if you can't tell by now. I like to describe it as an invisible staircase that I'm having to walk up because God told me that it's there, even though I can't see it. And I'm expecting for that staircase to appear as soon as my foot plants down on it. And that's what's been happening. So when we set those dates, we did not have locations locked in. We put out the ticket sales before we did not have where we were going to do the show. We didn't have none of this details in order. Where are we going to stay when we come do the show? How are we going to pay for this? None of that was figured out. I have to, I can't even say past tense because we're still in the middle of this tour. I literally have to trust God along the way, every single step of the way. And it always works out and falls into place. And you would think that it would get easier every time because, hey, God did it the last time.
Yeah.
Okay, we got this next one, right? We're 4 shows in now. Here we go. But no, my faith just gets stretched even more because the shows keep getting bigger. They keep getting more important. We've got, for the Atlanta show, we've got some big names supposed to be in the building. And I'm just like, oh, the pressure.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, it's like, it's just getting bigger and bigger. So I have to, I'm nervous. I'm still afraid every single time, but I still do it. And that's what matters. It doesn't matter if you're scared or not. It matters if you're doing it or not.
Yes.
So
how does it affect your emotions to see yourself doing this and to be putting yourself through it over and over again?
That's a really good question because someone tried to stop me before from doing the show because they felt like I was making myself relive it and it wasn't healthy for me. But I prayed about that. I'm like, are they right? But then I realized no, it was part of my healing, first of all, to do the show in the first place. And so the first so many shows, it was healing and the healing happens even more each time. Now I think where I'm at right now with it, because it's so distant in the past and I'm so healed from so much that it's hard to cry on stage because I'm resonating with what I went through. I have to connect to the audience now and resonate with what they are currently going through. So it's the empathetic side of me that makes me able to cry on command and do all the things because the audience is different every single time. And that's why the show's different every single time. I can literally feel who's going through domestic violence right now or still healing from domestic violence they've gone through. I can feel who's resonating with the different things. And it's always confirmed to me because when I feel it, I'll hear that person say, like that. And you're like, oh, I knew it. I knew I felt her before she even said, or they'll be like, amen, or whatever. The audience is feeding me the energy that I need to reflect it back to them. So I'm not even reflecting off of my own pain or energy anymore. I'm reflecting off of what they're going through and knowing that I can relate to that and knowing that this is healing for them. So I'm not reliving it anymore. Like, I'm so healed. I'll be sitting back there watching it like, wow, this is very entertaining. Like, this is an entertaining show now, because now I'm watching like the character development and just all the little details of stuff and not getting sucked into the trauma part anymore, So, yeah, great question.
Do you give a warning on the triggers?
Yes.
How do you prepare people for what they're about to see? Because I know even just parts of the trailer, I'm like, it's hitting home for me. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't know if I can sit through that.
Yeah. So we do a lot of trigger warnings. Of course, the people that are following, most people that come to the show, they're following online, they're watching behind the scenes, so they kind of know a little bit what to expect. But then we also have a program where they can follow along. We have a host, usually a couple of hosts actually in the room, that will walk them through the process, and they'll say, pull out your programs and follow along the show, so they can kind of get a heads up of what's coming up next if they need to step out or whatever, and the team is so supportive. Like, from the moment that the people come out of their cars and walk through the door, they're getting escorted, they're getting greeted with a smile. Like, that's my biggest pet peeve when I'm training new folks. Hint for all of the people who are sent in applications, because we are doing a hiring event tomorrow. But I always tell them, like, if you bring your drama to work, or your drama, whatever negative feelings, like, if you cannot come with a smile on your face and be welcoming and put whatever you're dealing with aside and think about this person that's coming through this door, because you don't know what they're going through. I like to explain it like, any person that walks through this door could be suicidal right now.
Yeah.
That's what I like to imagine that they probably are. I just like to imagine each person is, so that I treat them as if I would someone who might be going to take their life if they don't get what they need from this show.
Right.
Because I was that person. I showed up to a show like that, and someone showed up for me and gave me just what I needed to not go in my own life. So I have to show up for them. And so everyone that's a part of the team, they are attentive to the guests, and they're aware, so they're watching. We even go through a breathing exercise in the beginning to tell them, like, if you feel like you're being triggered, with the audience. And then we have tissues and waters in bags for all of the audience. It's just like the whole experience, we're understanding what they're about to go through or what they have been through. And so even with us having therapists in the room. So one of the biggest things about this show, and I can't believe I hadn't talked about this part yet, the biggest thing about this show is that before we get to the city, the whole team is doing all of our research. We're finding out who in that city already helps with mental health, homelessness, domestic violence, and human trafficking. We're finding all those organizations. We're calling them all week long. That's why we never get time to rehearse. This is why, because we're doing all this behind the scenes.
Right.
And we're bringing them together to either be in the building to support the people that need them, or if they can't physically be there, then they send pamphlets or brochures or information for us to put in the gift bags for the people.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's going to come up after the show and talk to me or talk to somebody in the room. But they'll take these little bags home, and then when they get home, they got what they need there. So one way or another, we're trying our best to make sure that the people that come to the show get connected with who can help them further, because it's not going to happen in one show. They're going to need more. This is just kind of opens up the wound and says, hey, you need to heal that now that you recognize it. And then we connect them with the people that can help them heal themselves further.
That's so beautiful. And that's really sharing resources. Because gosh, now that sinks in, you're doing this over and over again for different cities. So the information's not even the same. You're like redoing it every time.
Show. And so when one show's over, we're like, all right, we got to get ready for this next city now. And mind you, it's a lot of the cities I've never even set foot in. So, like, when we go to Washington, never been there. Texas, never been there.
Oh.
I'm just driving. Like, when I tell you doing it scared, I literally was driving to Orlando crying. I'm like, but I'm going, though. I'm just going to cry my way there.
I got to cry my way sometimes, too. It's a running joke of like, well, if you just go cry in the shower, at some point you won't know if you're actually crying or if it's the water.
There you go. That's the best time. That's the best time to cry. Get it out. Nobody can judge you. Nobody can be like, what's wrong with you, girl? Like, just let me do me.
One of the big questions that was also weighing on me is when you come out with such a big story, something that is traumatic that has happened to you, there's other people that also have a narrative in that story.
Oh, you are so good at this.
Oh my God, you're going to make me blush.
Oh my God.
So how did you get past that stigma? Because we all have a story, and I can guarantee you, myself included, it's because of the people that I know it's going to affect as well. And I'm going to have to deal with that lash.
Listen, okay. Oh, Lord, help me answer this correctly because I felt like that was the big one. That was the grand finale question right there. So when you asked, like, when I did it scared, that was probably the scariest thing for me.
Yeah.
That was my biggest excuse when God was calling me to do this. I was like, can I wait till these people are dead first? I'm just being
what I keep
honest. I
saying.
know it sounds
Awful, but that's what I keep doing.
Exactly. I know because if it's coming out my mouth, it's from God. I've gotten to the point where I just trust this now. So this is for you. Okay. That's why I had to think
Thank
for a
you.
minute. That's why I had to tap in for a minute. So let me get this right because I don't want to say it wrong. So yes, there and these same people, I had to think about, like, you run through all the scenarios in your head, how they're going to react if they saw it. Now, mind you, some of my story, there are people who are on the other side of that story who could want to take me out of this world if I share this story.
Correct.
So mine was a life, it still is
Literally
a life or death situation. I still have that in the back of my mind. Someone could show up to one of these shows and want to put a stop to this. But God would not call me to it if he did not plan on protecting me from it. So whether he protects them from seeing it online or having any knowledge of it whatsoever, or he might even put it in front of them, because God will make your enemies your footstool. So he will sometimes build a table, put you in front of them, and let them see you elevating and graduating. For whatever reason he has for them, is for them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're human beings too. They have their own perspective, just like you said with the parents. We do the best we can. There's a lot of people I had to learn to forgive. My mother, my family that wasn't there,
Right.
just being able to forgive them because I recognize that they are human too, and they had their own perspective and their own life and their own, even the people that did the worst things imaginable to you. As a human being, I just find it hard to believe that there's people walking this earth that just have no, like, conscious whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all spirits living this human flesh experience. So at some point in their life, somebody screwed them up. Or maybe they were dropping on their heads or whatever. We don't know like why people are the way they are. But I recognize that they're human beings, and so I forgive them and let it go. But I also know that I have to tell my part of the story. So if they don't like it, if they have their own version of it, nobody lived it but me. So they can write their own book. That's what I said. I just had to come to, if you don't like my version of it, then write your version of it, because at the end of the day, I would be accepting of that. Okay, that's your point of view. But I still had mine, and I had to just own my truth no matter what. And whoever it's for that's watching it, like, I'm happy to be a vessel. Oh gosh, I don't even know how to say this, and I'm getting chills trying to say it right now. I'm trying not to. I'm grateful to be able to minister even to them. I can honestly say that now, like, even to my enemies who are watching me, I'm grateful to be able to be ministering to them.
Yeah.
Because someone's connected to them too. They're humans, they have families, they have lives, and you just don't know who you're touching and who you're ministering to. And it could even be the people that hurt you the most. So, yeah.
Well, that leads me to my last question. What is the one thing you wish upon all the people that have hurt you that this is about?
One thing. Oh, that's another one nobody's ever asked me. Jeez, you are digging deep today.
It's my job that I don't get paid for.
I wish up on them. I wish up on them. I'm trying to sum it up in my head because there's a lot of things that I could say. But if I have to say one thing that I wish upon them, would be that they find their own personal relationship with God, whatever that is and whatever that looks like. Because I truly hope that, everyone is able to come to God with whatever that is, whatever it is, whatever their point of view is, whatever their perspective is, take it to God and ask, because we're all here for a purpose and a reason. And even the people who contributed to the bad parts of life, that was for a purpose and a reason. So I hope that they're able to go to God, find out what their purpose is for being alive, and do that purpose.
Yeah.
That's what I wish. Yeah.
Everyone finds their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank
some
you.
more
Can
insight.
I hug you?
Yes.
I gotta hug you.
Oh, thank you. That was
awesome.
I cannot wait to see the show. Just as a reminder, Skirts Up Squad, she's going to be in Atlanta March 9th. 8th. March 8th. And so get your tickets. I think I saw that they were almost sold out, so you might want to hurry.
Oh, it's very limited seating.
But if you miss it, Nashville's not a far drive. We have that one coming up.
Yep.
DC, Texas.
Washington is next after Atlanta. I can never remember them in order, but I believe it's Atlanta, then Washington, then Texas, then Tennessee. I don't know why we're going there, then back, and then Bowling Green, Kentucky. Oh, Boston is in there somewhere too. I cannot forget Boston.
I will not be
That
to the
is not
Boston
in
one.
order,
I don't
that
do
is.
snow.
Yeah, I think Boston is closer to June, so we should be. Like, I definitely factored in the winter months when I was praying about this. Like, God, can you not take me somewhere where there's winter?
Yeah,
Because that would not be.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for asking.
let us know what you all think when you guys see it, and come up with that word for us.
Yes. We need to start a vote, a petition or something. I don't know. We need to
what can we do for
pass
that?
around a clipboard. Pen and paper. I love pen and paper.
Bye, guys.
I could talk to you forever for sure.
Thank you. If you liked what you heard today, hit that like button or the subscribe button or whatever button it is that you have.
Just hit it. To continue this conversation with us, join the Skirts Up Show on what is it again?
Well, we have Facebook, we have YouTube,
And Pinterest.
and no, we do not have a Pinterest, but we have Instagram.
You knew what I meant. Rate and review. Rate and review.